Hello, everyone. This is part two of the taping I was making on Sunday. It's now Monday afternoon, and hopefully, cable will transmit this as two halves of one program. The I was talking about the Biden inaugural chart, and I'd like to share that with you just for another couple of minutes, and then go on to what I'm seeing happening for the world over the next couple of weeks or so. And and the good news is this year we have relatively few eclipses. We had a real mass of eclipses in 2020, so that we really didn't get a lot of breaks. But this is a chart for today. I'm going to look at the Biden chart though again for a second. And one of the reasons I want to look at this chart again is because I said I thought it looked like a chart of strict measures, of strict enforcements. And actually, I ran across a news story um, online in which they are talking about increasing surveillance, especially among right wing groups. Now, so I just want to share that with you as sort of like what I would call a vindication already of what I saw in this chart. So it doesn't necessarily mean this isn't um, called for, but I think you're going to see. Let me see if I can pull the inauguration chart because I don't have it on the screen. Data inauguration. So again, one person's security can be um, another person's prison. So I don't like to get melodramatic when I do readings. I don't like, I sort of like to report more matter of factly, but there is this thing called the Kala Sarpa Yoga, and they're relatively common. This is not something that I would be unduly worried about. But that means every planet is between Rahu and Ketu. So this means we're going to have, I would say, a lot of panic, a lot of surveillance, um, a lot of what I would call hypersensitivity during this administration. And as I said before, the fact that we're starting during a K2 major planetary period does make me worry they're going to be um, a little bit overzealous in um, in trying to protect security. Like I said, I understand perfectly the reasons for this. I'm not criticizing from a from a political perspective, but uh, it will be interesting to see what happens over the next few years in terms of um, whether or not there's increasing censorship, increasing pressure uh, to um, conform, et cetera, et cetera. So again, if we're talking about, and as I said before, it sort of reminds me of, I was alive then, it sort of reminds me of the transition between 68, when Nixon got elected in 1969. And Nixon set his then Vice President Agnew to essentially chastise the media. That was his job. And um, I'm sensing it's again, it's from the other end of the political spectrum. It's kind of interesting how these things work out. Um, but we're seeing it from the other end of the spectrum. We're seeing it from um, the left or the middle trying to chastise the right. So I think it's going to be an interesting 4 years. Um, I think he's going to have. I mean, he's going to have a lot of problems in his presidency. Um, is it doesn't look to me like an easy, given the Mahadasha sequence over here. It doesn't look easy to me, especially not after May 25th, 2021 to June 13th, 2022. Um, and he may have some health issues around that time as well. So again, I wish him the best of luck. This isn't um, a negative reading. It's just something that I thought I should share with you. The other thing is, let's go back to the chart. So this changed from the other day when I was talking to you. We had a Rahu Moon conjunction yesterday morning. So I'm taping this on January 25th. And usually when you have Rahu Moon conjunctions, people are a little bit anxious or worried or upset. I have had communications with several people who were, at least towards the end of last week, had very bad temper attacks, and over the weekend were very dissatisfied with things. Were very upset, very, um, I would say, almost paranoid about things in general. I'm actually happy I was able to do the reading or the chart today. This is for Great New River Cable, and because the moon's moved into a more um, a happier sign, it's moved into Gemini, and if we're looking at factors connected with people, um, it's a less anxiety-prone time to look at the chart. It's more people are more going to be a little bit happier, a little bit less prone to panic. So let's look and see where. So if we take this sign, this rising sign of Cancer, which is when I'm talking to you right now, the Lord of the First is in the 12th house, so it does mean the public's going to be ignored just a little bit over the next couple of months, over the next month or so, excuse me, and there'll be a lot of focus on financial anxiety and a lot of focus on action. It doesn't necessarily mean action in terms of violence, although Mars can be connected with violence, but this Mars is in relatively good shape. Mercury's in the eighth house. I think when you have Mercury in the eighth house, it does tend to make the press a little bit more circumspect. It tends to make them a little bit, their communications are going to be more, less outward, less panicky. The Jupiter Saturn Sun conjunction, though, it does indicate to me kind of a slowdown in government. This is not surprising given the impeachment trial that's coming up. I personally think they are going to try to, well, they're going to try to impeach Trump, definitely. I mean, they've already impeached Trump for a second time. The conviction, I'm still kind of mess about. Um, if I look at the chart, if I look at this chart, Jupiter's ahead of Saturn. It's less likely that he'll be impeached. Um, and I think with Venus entering Capricorn within about 3 days, it becomes even less likely that he'll be impeached. So, but I can't help but get the feeling they just want to stop him from taking public office again. And so while there definitely was um, violence to the Capitol building, I'm not ignoring that. I think this is a punishment trial, much more so, and a trial intended to humiliate him. Now, even if he is barred from holding office, I don't think even if that part of it goes through, and actually the odds, they have to get the impeachment. The odds from being barred from holding office are actually stronger than the odds of him uh, being impeached, but they have to go through impeachment first, then hold that secondary vote. So the odds against him being impeached because he's already been removed from office, it's a tough chart to read. But I think I'm, I'm, I think the 17 votes they need to impeach, they sort of aren't there. Um, but you know, I'm not going to be cocky about this because it's just it's a little too close to call, right? At least astrologically. But odds are in favor of him not getting impeached. Um, will they vote not to allow him to hold public office again? Um, they could. There's another amendment they could invoke, but they would need to show intent at insurrection. And that's really tough to show. Uh, so, so, so at least, but again, uh, Jupiter's weak, so that means the Republicans are weak. Saturn is strong, that means the Democrats are strong. Um, there may be, but Saturn's also combust right now, so it doesn't mean. But again, by the time the trial begins, we'll see what happens. So I want to look at other parts of the world, but I think if we're looking in general, there will be attempts to limit or control politics in general across the world over the next few months. Um, Actually, the vaccine rollout from this Venus in the sixth house looks really optimistic. That's good. So let's see what the time and space change says, and then I'll go on to the readings for people, for individuals. So we have, okay, we can build this up, and I'm going to try to do a new share, and we're going to share. Okay, so hopefully you can see the map, and we do have Sun, Jupiter, and Saturn lines passing really close to Washington, D.C., all the way down through Guinea and South America. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's not Guinea. It's, yeah, I think it is. I apologize. And Brazil. So the governments in those parts of the world, in um, especially between Boston, let's say, and Washington, D.C., government actions will be kind of frozen in place. The same is true near and around Puerto Rico. The same is true in Brazil. And if we go over here, we're going to look for, you'll see parts of Indonesia having trouble and Japan. If we look over here, so this indicates government freeze or government, not shutdown, but government, essentially a suspension of action. They won't be able to move forward. Um, Rahu is moving over India, so there'll be some panic in India. Mars is moving over Western Turkey, Iran. So there should be some problems on the border. I'm sorry, Eastern Turkey. And we have, what planets are these? Hold on a second. Yeah, we have a Saturn, Sun, Jupiter combination happening over Turkey and Eastern Europe. So that means there'll be some trouble in the government there. We have the moon going over England. So again, we're seeing increasing death rates in England. And Spain should see an increase in disease cases and maybe even some flooding. Same is true in Western France. The parts of the world which are relatively safe right now are Sweden, uh, through Central Europe and through Central Africa. And Hawaii and Alaska also has some government disruption, but Hawaii is in better shape overall. And Rahu lines, this gives disruption. So I'm not talking about earthquakes in Turkey, let's say, per se, but I'm talking about government control or need for additional government control. And Rahu's passing through India and through a little bit of China and into Russia. So there could be some conflict in between India and China. Some conflict also in Saudi Arabia and into central Russia. So overall, and maybe some conflict in Brazil as well. Brazil and through Uruguay and Paraguay, and a little bit of Argentina. Right. So those are the general trends I'm seeing. Some possibly some earthquakes in near Hawaii or the Aleutian Islands. All right. So let's go over here. Let's go back to the chart. And if we're looking at the chart for Aries rising, it looks like a generally um, prosperous couple of weeks. Mars is in the first house. Venus is in the ninth house. That's a relatively good combination. Um, Jupiter and Sun are well placed in the house of career, but a lot of hard work. And that sign doesn't look like it's going to have many domestic problems, although it'll be a little bit greedy and a little bit selfish at this time. That's for Aries Sun or Aries rising. Rahu's in the second house, so it does mean people are going to be unhappy with their situation. Moon is in the third house. That will give increased ambition, increased ability to realize one's dreams. The For Taurus rising, again, some relationship problems show up again for the sign. This is going to be a pattern for about the next year or so. And a lot of people with Taurus suns and Taurus moons will tend to be a little bit upset with their life, but they'll also be very attractive, and they'll also have a lot of work luck, and the career luck should actually expand this coming month. But there will be a lot of arguments in relationships, unfortunately, and that's going to be true for a while. Good for financial growth, though, for Taurus. For Gemini, the moon is in Gemini, and that's essentially good for this sign becoming more sociable, more friendly, less worried, less anxious. And overall, there are no planets in the second house, but there's more focus on wealth, so their financial situation should improve. And they will have to be careful though about illness and digestive issues, and also they should watch out for drinking or any alcohol, um, because there's a tendency to overconsume when K2's in the sixth house. The other point is seventh house, so possible relationship materialization. They might find some romantic involvement, and Jupiter, Saturn, Sun in the eighth house, they'll seem to be very attractive to people around them. And Mercury's in the ninth house, so this is actually a good combination for them career-wise. So they'll focus a lot on their career this month, these next few weeks. Cancer rising. Cancer's Lord is in the 12th house. Tends to give a lot of focus on communications, and also this sign wanting to be alone a lot. So this is really July 15th to August 15th for Cancer. And K2 problems with children look like, but although this sign will be very creative, some financial luck with Venus over here in the sixth house, but also some problems with women. Jupiter, Saturn, Sun in the seventh house, so relationship life will be stable, but there'll be more opportunities or temptations, and relationship life for this sign is going to be a little bit challenged over the next couple of years. Mercury's in the eighth house, so again, this sign will seem very attractive to people who it's not in partnership with. And Mars is in the ninth house, so the person fights, they can get fame, they can get recognition. Leo has There are no planets in the second house, but there is a planet in the 11th house. So this means financial gain, which will soon be spent, and also some relationship luck for this sign. So Venus is in Sagittarius. It should be good. It'll last for about a week, and then Venus will go into the sixth house. Second house Lord is the Sun. Lord of the second house is in the sixth. It's in the seventh house. So this indicates financial gain through relationship partners. Third house Lord is in the eighth house. This indicates interest in investigation or research. So this should be a time when this sign should be researching or investigating new options in their lives. Um, K2 is in the fifth. K2 is in the fourth house, so some domestic problems or some upsets at home. Rahu's in the 10th house, so definitely some career gains and some career success. Venus is in the fifth house, so again, opportunity for happiness in relationships. Jupiter, Saturn, Sun, opportunity for expansion, but only through extremely hard work. If that sign shows up here, if that combination shows up here. Relationship life actually looks pretty good. There'll be a couple of younger or more interesting potential partners coming in. If you're already married, this can mean more friendships, especially through the spouse. The eighth house has no planets in it. Mars is in the ninth, Rahu's in the 10th, Moon is in the 11th. So overall, an auspicious month for Leo. This is August 15th to September 15th. September 15th through October 15th is Virgo in Vedic astrology. K2 is in the third house, so again, a lot of courage, a lot of ambition for this sign. Career change or career life will change. There'll be some scandals connected with a supervisor or some obsess connected with supervisors. Venus is in the fourth house in Sagittarius, so a little bit of oversensitivity or emotionalism in home life. Jupiter, Sun, and Saturn are in the fifth house, so again, this will give a lot of creativity to the sign, a lot of ambition, a lot of drive, a lot of ability to fulfill dreams and to make them real. For Mercury, in the eighth house, this is actually in the sixth house. This is actually a good time for improving one's health or engaging in exercise or going on diets. Seventh house Lord is Jupiter, Lord of the seventh house, is in the fifth house along with Saturn, Sun. So relationship partners will be unhappy or bossy. Mars is in the eighth house. Relationship partners will take advantage of the person. Rahu is in the ninth. Good success, good notoriety, but like I said, it's not really without some problems because bosses will seem to be difficult. They'll seem to be, and there'll be some kind of upset or scandal with them. Really, pretty much over the next year and a half, this is a possibility. For Libra, but good for career life. So this may indicate change or increase in responsibility in career life, which looks like a positive thing. For Libra, you have K2 in the second house, so the speech can be misunderstood. It can be viewed as being eccentric or a little bit odd or a little bit cutting. So Libras, this is October 15th to November 15th. Librans should be careful about that. Venus is in the third house, so strong ambition for desires, to fulfill the desires, which will manifest into reality within a few days. You have Jupiter, Saturn, and Sun in the fourth house, so a lot of responsibilities connected with home, a lot of controlled exercise at home, a lot of desire for education. Mercury's in the fifth house, some potential of attracting younger friends or relationship partners or children in the sign. Sixth house Lord has no planets in it. Sixth house Lord is Jupiter is placed in the fifth house. So if there are romantic involvements, there'll be some problems with them or some upsets connected with them. Maybe even some health issues with that person. Mars is in the seventh house. Relationship partner will be angry most of the time. So this will last for about another month or so. Rahu's in the eighth house. A lot of interest in metaphysical or spiritual things. A lot of interest in uncovering secrets behind the scenes. And Moon is in the ninth house. That's actually good. It will give change in supervisors, change in luck, change in educational focus. Scorpio, Ketu's in the first house for Scorpio Lagna or Sun or Moon, and this particular placement gives financial success, strong desire and ambition, and also with Mercury over here, strong ability to realize one's dreams through home life, through educational life. Mars is in the sixth house, so this sign will be focused a lot on improvement, and they'll be generally dissatisfied with the relationship life, generally interested in occult or metaphysical studies. Jupiter with Sagittarius, Venus is in the last degrees of Sagittarius, and essentially this makes this sign very sensitive or very, they're looking for like an ideal world. Jupiter, Saturn, Sun are in the second house. It gives good money opportunities, but again, additional work. Mercury's in the third house, good communication skills. And Mars is in the fifth house, so some arguments or disagreements with children. And Rahu, they have to be careful about health matters. Moon, there may be changes in relationship life, or they may find new relationship possibilities or new business partners. And the rest of the chart looks fairly good. Career life looks pretty good. Ketu in the 12th can give unexpected expenses though. Capricorn is pretty much the action house this year. You have Jupiter, Saturn, Sun, and Pluto in Capricorn. But essentially, this is what's called a Raj Yoga in Indian astrology, or a Nichabanga Raj Yoga. It does give strong fulfillment of ambitions, but also at a cost because Jupiter rules the 12th house. Saturn rules the first and second house, so it's good for financial growth. And Mercury, the lord of the sixth and the ninth, is well placed in the second house of money. So this should be a good money week for you. And and so for Capricorn, we have Rahu in the fifth house. Again, some problems with children, some fights at home. To be honest with you, especially because I think work life will tend to overwhelm this sign a little bit. The other thing is, with this particular placement, with K2, there'll be some problems with friendships. Venus in the 12th house, so it's very good for saving, and so people with this combination should focus on saving money this month, and they'll be pulled out of financial hardship as well. Aquarius looks very good. It's got Mars in the third house, which makes it very brave and courageous. Mercury's in the first house. It's the fifth lord in the first house. It'll seem very smart. I have an Aquarius moon, that's why I say seem. And Mars aspects the sixth house, which will give it a lot of drive and a lot of ambition. Rahu's in the fifth house, so some difficulty with creativity, although creativity will come streaming in at times, but it'll be kind of disrupted. And we have Moon and Venus in the sixth and the 12th house, which can give minor health issues, but overall good luck. Finally, Pisces is in the 12th house, and Pisces has Mars in the second house, which it has had for the past couple of months, and Rahu in the third house. So it's going to be very ambitious. It's going to be very thoughtful. There could be some problems at home, though, for Pisces. So relationship partners will seem to be very easily upset. And there could be some problems with relationship partners going away or seeming distant or unavailable. The other thing is Venus is in the 10th house of career, so career life should be very good. Financial gains should be very good for the sun over the next few weeks. And with Mercury in the 12th, it's a good time for short journeys. So that's it for this week. Hopefully we can merge the two videos together for one solid presentation. And I'll post them separately on YouTube, but hopefully cable can work with these. So I'm going to leave you now and wish you the best, and namaste. God bless you all, and keep you safe. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.